What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another episode of the Turnpike Titans podcast. I'm joined as always by my two co-hosts, Vin and Jarrett. Well, it's taken nearly 8 months, but we're finally back for a victory podcast. The Tennessee Titans were able to take down the Las Vegas Raiders this Sunday by a final score of 22-24, thanks to the left hand of Kevin Byard. Locking down that final attempt to tie the game. Let's jump right into it. A lot of pros to go through, believe it or not, but still some glaring negatives, and we'll get into all of it. Vin, why don't you start us off? Overall review of the game, good, bad, and the ugly.
Well, first off, I want to give myself one of these because out of the three of us, I was the only one that had the Gaggies to take the Titans.
Yeah.
This team is a pain in the ass, but they also are gritty. And it's like we've often said, when we expect them to lose, they win, and vice versa. So props to me for picking them. Not only did I pick them to win, but I think my score was pretty close too. I think I said 27-24, something like 24-22. So, hey, listen, I mean, someone's got to be positive. Might as well be me. But no, yeah, good things and bad. By the end of the first half, I was saying to myself, where the fuck has this offense been the first few weeks? It looked like we were getting creative with Henry in the run game, and it was nice to see us move the ball and, put points on the board. But as always, with the good comes the bad with the Titans. In the second half, it got a little stagnant, and we score 3 points in the second half.
Nothing. Nothing.
Okay, so we scored all 24 in the first. So that's a little worrisome too, because like I said, we're again struggled to put at least 20 on the board. So saw some good things from certain players. Henry looked a little more motivated. That's why I'm repping him today. The King's back. I knew it'd take him a couple weeks to get going, but he started to look like his old self a little bit. Robert Woods, shout out Robert Woods. I remembered that he's on the team now. Defensively, I mean, Kevin Byard, I've been saying it for the last 3 years, is not one of the best safeties in the league. He is the best safety in the league, working up his way on my all-time favorite Titans list as well. Gotta love the guy. Tireless worker, great leader, and just a ball hawk, a good tackler. Just not a bad thing to say about him. Secondary outside of him, though, still a big question mark. We got away with some things last week, but going forward, that's definitely going to be something they need to address. But Ryan Stonehouse leading the league in average, net yards per punt. So great to see that as well. So good things, bad things to build on, but definitely needed to win. And week 4 is not do or die, but kind of like last week, there's a big difference between 0-3 and 1-2. And this week, there's a big difference between 2-2 and 1-3, especially when we're playing our division rival. So I'll pass it on to Jarrett and have at it, brother.
I just want to say it's great to get a win, especially against the Raiders after the last 2 times we played them. So I get to stick it to my brother and a couple of my Raider friends. So fuck you guys. We started off fast, man, like we have been in the last 3 games, and we maintained that through the whole first half, which was definitely a plus. I couldn't believe it, and I was telling my brother the same thing as we were watching the game. I don't know where this Titans team is, but we still haven't played a whole 60-minute football game yet, which is scary, because if we do that and put it all together and the defense plays well, watch out. Could be the same Titans team you're looking at as last year. The whole first half we played great. We got Robert Woods involved more, which is definitely a plus. Derrick Henry in the pass game, getting involved. I think he had almost his career catches and possibly career receiving yards out of the backfield. So if you add that dynamic to this offense, like we've been saying, possibly would be greater, because that opens up a lot more for our wide receivers, which obviously help Woods out. But still, like, where's Chig and where's Burks? With their targets, the least amount of targets on the team still. The line too, with the impressive, they impressed me the whole first half and the whole game. We've been talking about the line and bashing them all summer long. Their run blocking was a little sketchy, but their pass blocking has been great. 17's got clean pockets, and he's only been sacked 4 times, which is crazy to me with that stat. But I don't know, man. But all in all, I think we played well, but we definitely got to clean up the run defense against JT this week in Indianapolis. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, definitely for sure. You guys hit on a lot of points, and like I said, there's a very large amount of positives to take away from this game, but I don't want to be the Debbie Downer of the group, which I typically always am, at least recently, or at least for the last year. But I mean, you can't glance over the very glaring issue that this team still has, which is inept coaching and inept game planners. And again, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. The team can only go so far as the people who call the plays can go. I mean, the players outside of the quarterback, and occasionally, I don't even know if Ryan Tannehill would get that kind of leash to be able to audible the play at any given time he wants, but the players can't change the plays. You run the play, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well. And this team can't score a fucking point in the second half. And that is a very, very, very big problem. This team has 7 points in 6 quarters of these games, of these second halves. I mean, that is just out of this world unacceptable at every level. And again, Downing does a couple good things and just fumbles the ball again in the second half with his play calling, and it goes even farther to variable. I mean, every time I look, I tried to make myself believe that going forward on 4th and 4, when you're up 10 from fucking your own 40 is a good idea, and I can't. It was inexcusable. It's the only reason there was a 2-point conversion to tie the game, because they are so stupid with their decision making that they can't get anything right, at least sustainably. And it's inexcusable that we let that team at mid fucking field with 8 minutes in the game down 10 points. That you cannot do that. It makes 0 sense. So until these things get corrected, I can't really get too hyped up, because this coaching is holding this team back. Derek Carr is way, way over his head. Very, very overrated, okay? This wasn't Josh Allen. This wasn't Herbert or Burrow. These guys are having much better games if they had if they weren't as overrated as Carr is. So, at the end of the day, you get a win. Defense started playing well. Derrick Henry was running with a purpose for the first time this year. It was night and day the way he was making his cuts, the burst off the line of scrimmage. Everything was back to old Derrick Henry on Sunday. And if we can get that moving forward, we're going to be in a lot more games, even despite of the horrible coaching. So overall, I'm happy. But let's dive in first. Typically, as we do, we'll talk about the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. I think he had a fair performance. Again, another unacceptable interception, but you can give me that look. You're going to have your chance in 5 seconds. But for me, it was fair, because there was a couple times where you said to yourself, I don't know, 8-9-year guys still doing those things. But Jared, by all means, let me have it. What was your thought? You're giving it an A++?
I'm not giving an A++. I'm definitely giving close to an A as possible. But I did save on my phone that I said we need to come up with a new segment, because every single week we talk about this, and the segment should be, is Sal back on the bandwagon with Tannehill?
No, not yet. Not after that fucking pick. Again, another unexcusable pick.
Of course it was unexcusable, but they clearly looked like it was miscommunication between him and Woods. Clearly. Okay. I mean, everybody was saying it. I mean, it was a horrible throw. He went right to him after the play. I mean, he was zinging the ball all over the place, making great decisions. I still want to see him use his legs, though.
Of course.
Pocket. I thought he played well.
All right, I'll give him a B+. All right, 19 for 27, 264 with a touchdown and interception. That's not an A stat line. I'm sorry, and he had the protection. Okay, he wasn't getting he got sacked protection one time. So 19, 27, 264 TD interception. I'll give you a B+, but that's not A material by any stretch of the imagination. And again, we're seeing him not really be able to extend plays with, which somebody who's maybe a little bit more active on their feet might be able to get that 3rd and 3 when the guy's not there. We saw a guy like Daniel Jones do it last night, even though they didn't win. but he extended so many drives by just stepping up in the pocket, seeing nobody was there, and taking off. And our guy just does not do that. So again, I'm not going to go on another tangent, but I'll give him a B plus. But continue, Jared. I'm sorry.
I'm good. I'm good.
Ben, what do you think about RT?
I give him a solid B. It's hard to get too excited about him, to be honest. I mean, we know what he is at this point.
Exactly.
What he is at this point in his career. I'd love to see him use his legs a little more. He looked like he moved a little bit better around in the pocket this week than he has the last few weeks. But it's like we said, we know what we're getting out of him. We're not going to expect him to win us a game, even though he's taking us on some game-winning drives. It's more like, okay, let's not make a stupid mistake. Let's run the ball. Let's pass it when we have to. And let's control the game. You know what I mean? So until he starts putting up numbers like he did with Arthur Smith, I'm not going to get head over heels with the guy. I still think it's probably his last year, regardless, unless we at least go to the Super Bowl. So he's going to keep us above float for the time being, and until he makes me makes my jaw drop, I'm not going to go out there and salivate over him like Jared seems to do, and the way you seem to do.
I'm just not just salivating over him. I'm just saying I don't believe in Willis right now, and I don't think I'm going to, just because he played at a small school. So you want to talk about like the quarterbacks that are be coming out this year, like CJ Stroud. I really don't want to talk about them, but like those are quarterbacks. Bryce Young and all them.
Well, Sal's, we want to keep his blood pressure down. Don't talk about drafting a quarterback.
No, I'm not talking about anything. I'm just saying comparing wise. But I'm just saying you're gonna miss that somewhat. Okay, because I missed the Arthur Smith, Ryan Tannehill, and obviously there's something holding him back, and we know it's Todd Downing and the play calling, because he was slinging it, he was throwing the deep balls. But another thing is it's the young wide receivers, and why aren't they giving these guys the opportunity like they gave to AJ Brown and Treylon Burks? He only had how many targets? I think he only had 2 catches and 3 targets.
Something like that.
They've been all over Chig in training camp.
That drop on 4th and 4 was bad.
But it was a bad throw.
It was behind him, though. It was behind him, but he's got to make that catch.
Absolutely.
He's got to make that catch.
Punt that ball 11 out of 10 times and pin them back and play the field position up 2 possessions.
Yeah.
But granted, he could have made that catch. If you're going to be the guy, could have been a better throw, but I mean, I don't think he needed to jump the way he did. I didn't. So got to make that catch. But I'm really not worried about him. I think as time goes on, remember AJ started a little slow as well. I mean, he had that huge game his rookie year against the Falcons a few weeks in, but I mean,
he had a great Cleveland game. He did pretty well too.
His first game, he had I think maybe 100 yards, but I mean, we can't keep comparing him to.
No, we're not comparing him to nothing. We're just give them more targets, give them more opportunities.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I think it will come in time. Unfortunately, I don't think this offensive coaching staff is going to be the one to take the future Titans, the Malik Willises, the Reddicks, the Burks to the next level. But that's neither here nor there for the time being. But not to get too off topic, because you got a little salty when I said you salivate over Ryan's pretty blue eyes. But like I said, it's hard to get excited over him because we know what we're getting out of him. And you almost feel like, I hate to say it, it's the pessimism in me that makes me think like he's just almost like a Jimmy G. Like you feel like eventually
he is Jimmy G.
He's going to make a stupid fucking play and you're just waiting on it. But, he's also won us some games. So, I'm going to give the guy a fair shake. And, we're only 3 games in, we're only half game back in the division. So, for the time being, I give him a B. He could be better, he could be worse, but
here's the last thing I'm going to say about Tannehill, and I'm sorry, I don't know how anyone can really argue this point because there's enough evidence to kind of to back me up here. You're getting a coin flip from Ryan Tannehill on any given Sunday. It's a coin flip. You might get a guy that makes plays. You might get a guy that looks like he's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. And you might get a game where he looks like absolute dog shit. You might get a game like the Green Bay game. You might get a game like, honestly, Monday night. I mean, the play calling might not have been great, but great players make great plays despite of whatever whatever cards are stacked against them. So I'm never going to wake up on a game in January and say, I believe Ryan Tannehill is going to win this game. Is it possible that he can? Of course. Has he done it yet since he's been a Titan? No. Okay. No one's going to tell me that Ryan Tannehill was the key factor beating Baltimore. Okay. And that is the only game you can even make an argument that he had a big part in, was the Baltimore game. And he didn't even throw for 100 yards. Okay. The New England game was all defense, Derrick Henry, and a couple red zone drops, or a couple red zone, basket throws. And then KC, you couldn't remember a single fucking play from Ryan Tannehill in that game. So again, am I going to say there's a chance he could take us to a Super Bowl? I'd say there's a 10% chance. Okay. Honestly, there are teams that are struggling that we thought were going to be really good. But you still have a lot of faith in Joe Burrow. They're going to be right in the mix for the top of the division. You still got a lot of faith in even a team like, Lamar, the Chargers, even with a banged up Burrow or Herbert. I just don't, I'm not.
Look like they might be a decent team,
Of course, and then team that resides right by Vin. They're arguably the best team in the NFC right now, and it is not just based off of the eye test. You look at the stats, and they're jaw dropping. What just on offense alone, let alone their defense, what they're doing and the philosophy that they're playing with. So off of Ryan Tannehill, let's get into the defense from Sunday. A lot of good things, except for one glaring awful issue, which obviously we're going to get into. But realistically, a team with the weapons that the Raiders have, I think we definitely overperformed what my expectations were. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it since week one. I mean, I still think that the defense is going to be the strong point of this team because of how inconsistent our offense is going to be all year. And you have two first-team All-Pro players on that defense in Simmons and Byard. So as long as they're healthy throughout the year, they're going to generate enough plays throughout the course of a game to potentially make differences in wins and losses, in my opinion. We saw that this week with Byard, with the interception and then the tip pass on the 2-point conversion. As long as we have Simmons and Byard healthy throughout the year, I think we'll always be able to count on them to make a play or two. Autry played much better. Linebacking core was a little better. The secondary outside of the safeties is going to be a work in progress all fucking year, unfortunately. I mean, it's sad that it feels like the staff is not giving up on Farley, but maybe it's a motivational tactic. Like, okay, buddy, like, your leash is getting shorter and shorter by the day. Maybe this will wake him up. We get Molden back next week, or hopefully next week. So hopefully things get better in our secondary. But, I'm a big fan of this defense. I think Hooker and Byard are top three, safety combination in this league. I think Simmons is right below Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey
Dahmer.
That's what I was going with.
Which I'm going to watch that Netflix, especially after I heard it's really good. But
yeah,
aside from Jeffrey Simmons and Fletcher Cox, I think he's probably the third best defensive tackle in the league right now. And he will be the best, one day when Donald and Cox are no longer in the league because they're getting a little long in the tooth. But not to, beat a dead horse, as long as you have Byard and Donald, I mean, Jesus Christ, Byard and Simmons, we'll continue to make plays on defense, throughout the course of a year. And we needed a big play this week on defense, and it was Byard who made it. So, I'm going to give this defense the benefit of the doubt because, it's going to be hard to lean on our offense. So, we're going to have to rely on our defense. Run defense needs to obviously get better, but I forgot to mention Rashad Weaver. It looked like he could be a nice little player going forward.
On pace for 17 sacks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think you tweeted it, Sally's on pace for 17 sacks. So, we get Bud Dupree back. We have Autry, Simmons, Weaver. Looks like we can be able to, get after the quarterback and hopefully improve upon our run defense as well. But, good things and bad. But, I want to give this defense the benefit of the doubt because, I think I believe in them more than most Titans fans and more than most people that watch football in general. we're going to need them down the stretch to make some key plays for us to get into December football. And if we make it there, we're going to need them even more. So, Jarrett?
I mean, you really hit everything on the head, but the glaring things that are affecting the defense, I think, in my opinion, is the pass rush. Obviously, we're not really getting it like we did last year, and the run defense, man, another game of 100 yards we let up in total to the Raiders. Hopefully everything cleans up with that, and the corners with Fulton back, it was huge. He played a hell of a game covering Adams and even making plays coming up in the run game, just making reads. And hopefully when Molden comes back, they can bump McCreary out. So it'll be Fulton, Molden, and McCreary, and keep Farley off the field, because that says a lot about him, too. Bringing in Mitchell on a Wednesday and him fucking starting the fucking game. And that doesn't say much about him. So that could be another whiff, like we said last week. So
yeah, well,
hopefully Molden comes back and plays and they bump McQuarrie out, and then this defense will improve the rest of the year.
I don't think Terrence Mitchell's beating out you or me next week as far as defensive snaps, because he was as bad as it gets. He was second leader for us in tackles with 7, which I just kind of scary in itself. But well, not really, because he always had to tackle because everyone kept getting the ball that was around him. So yeah, he's an absolute disaster, obviously. But yeah, Farley, this isn't looking good, folks. If this is a tactic, which I would give little to no chance of it being, wouldn't be the one I'm using if I'm the coach. So I don't know how bad he must be. I practice and on tape. We know he's been pretty bad on tape, but this has the potential of being another epic disaster from John Robinson. Because again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. He's gotten some decent hits in the first round and then some beyond. But if you really take a step back and look at just draft picks from top to bottom, there's a lot more bad than good. So, and the past 3 first round picks is anyone's guess. Majority looks like it's going to be pretty bad. So we still got hope for Burks, but obviously our pick from 3 years ago was the worst in franchise history, and last year's looks to be an epic disaster as well. So not to mention, you draft a guy, he winds up being able to play a game, gets hurt for the whole year. Now he's back and he looks like total shit. So he
hasn't played much football lately, Farley. I mean, he was hurt
2019.
Yeah, he was hurt in college,
He sat out with COVID.
And then last year with sat for COVID, last year with the knee. I mean, so I don't know. I hope it's not all added up, quickly, these injuries in his young career. But yeah, I don't know. But the crazy part is too, not to, rant about him, but he looked so good in training camp on Twitter. Everyone was talking about he's using his length, he's being aggressive, and then it's just like the lights are on and he's a fucking deer in headlights. So,
Yeah, well, Cody Hollis looked really good in training camp too, but I certainly don't want to see him anywhere near the football field. So, we'll see. Is there a chance he could come back and make an impact? Yeah, but I mean, doesn't look like he's going to have a ton of opportunities to, unless there's some injuries, which we all know there probably will be.
It's not like on wood here.
It's not a good situation. Really, really needed this guy to play like a first round pick, and he's shit in the bed. So we'll see how that ends up. And moving forward, we got a big match. Well, actually, before we get into our matchup at the end with the Colts, there's one other thing I want to bring up quickly. And I had some mixed reviews when I brought it up today on Twitter, but I can't really understand. This is a team that can only play 2 quarters of football right now, and even the 2 quarters of football haven't been anything to write home about except for one game. So why is this team so hell-bent against giving our much more athletic backup quarterback some opportunities to shake things up? Don't. I'm telling you, we're acting like this kid is fucking Ryan Leaf, okay? I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers already, okay? We all know he's got work to do. But to think this kid is so inept to get under center, to throw defenses off, to try to make a play on that 4th and 4, on a 3rd and 1, just so the defense has to think, well, what is their point here? Are they putting him in to run? Are they doing a play action? And, someone might get a single coverage. It makes zero sense why we can't get Malik Willis 1 or 2 snaps a game. There is zero excuse for it. If this was a top 5 offense in the NFL after 3 weeks, I'd say, yes, okay, I get it. This team has scored 1 touchdown in 6 quarters of second half football. There should be no card left unturned when it comes to trying to improve the offense. And last time I checked, this kid is a faster quarterback and has a bigger arm. So if that doesn't set up a wildcat opportunity, then nothing will. You guys can give me, what your take is on it, but I think it's pretty cut and dry. Vin, go right ahead why you don't think so.
I mean, I don't know who thinks he's Ryan Leaf. I think that's you just being, nobody says he's Ryan Leaf.
There are so many people that act like this guy is a century away from even seeing a start. Literally, like it's borderline suspect. Why the way people talk, like he is by far the worst backup and the worst quarterback that was picked in the draft. It's just I see it every day in our fan base. But
I guess I thought you meant more or less within the organization. People think maybe he doesn't have the talent. He obviously has the talent. It's just going to be a wait and see thing. And I mean, what are we expecting out of Todd Downing? There's zero creativity to begin with. So I said it last year, we all said it when we drafted him. We would love to see him get some packages like we saw Trey Lance get last year. But, until it happens, I'm not really going to every week stress over trying to get him on the field for a play or two. I agree it would give the defense a different look. But one, I'm not expecting it because we have Todd Downing as an offensive coordinator who, even when he seems like he's getting a little creative, it doesn't last long. And I just don't think they want to put him on the field yet unless they absolutely have to. I mean, you could say the same thing about Mahomes his rookie year. I mean, he was a first round pick, but, no one saw him on the field until his sophomore season. And
same thing with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're talking about teams that were very good offensively the year before they saw the fild. This is a completely different situation.
None to write home about offensively. We beat them in the playoffs that year. That was Mariota threw it to himself. So they were good, but they weren't, over the top great to the point where I'm sure some fans were, clamoring for Mahomes to get a few offensive snaps. So, listen, I'd like to see it too. Don't get me wrong. I want to see what he could do. I thought he showed some mobility and ability to extend plays when he got in against Buffalo, but one, I'm not expecting it because of who runs the offense. And two, I just don't think the coaching staff as a whole wants to put him out there prematurely. And when I say prematurely, I'm not to say I don't think he can't make a few plays. It's the coaching staff, I think, that doesn't want to put him out there prematurely for whatever reason. They don't think he's ready. They don't want to risk injury, because God for fucking bid, then Logan Woodside's our backup again. And if something happens to Tannehill, then Sal, you might as well make another Photoshop of your head on Tannehill's body because if Logan Woodside's got to get in there, might as well be you.
Yeah, might as well be. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I don't get how they didn't have any problem putting it in when we were getting blown out on primetime television, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, I'd love to see
what the fuck.
Until it just the whole offense lacks creativity, like Vinny's been saying. As much as I think he shouldn't be in the game, and he's a raw talent and everything like that, it definitely gives another dynamic to the offense. So I agree with you, possibly maybe 3 to 5, throughout the game if in that situation of third and short, or even fourth down. But it's just a lack of creativity and the balls that they're not going to do it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We can't really hammer home the point anymore than we have that this is just a bad coach team. And, obviously you can't say bad coach team without mentioning the head coach. And, he just hasn't shown the stones to make the moves that seems everyone and their mother knows they need to make. So you got to put him in the same boat with them. And I have no issues doing it as well as your general manager. So we'll see. Don't expect Malik to see a snap unless we're getting blown out by 50. So we'll continue to go from there. Moving on to this game real quick. We'll see next Sunday or this coming Sunday versus the Colts. In my opinion, it really should be viewed as like a playoff game because This is just an absolute must win for numerous reasons. You can go on and
Monstrous
on.
game.
Yeah, I mean, on the road, Jacksonville is clearly not a joke anymore. I don't care what anyone says. The Colts just wound up winning, so they got a half game lead on us right there. It's just really important. It's a tone-setting game for the remainder of the season, and for the pure fact that 1-3 teams statistically just don't make the playoffs, no matter how bad the division is, and it might not be as bad as we originally thought. So let's get into that real quickly. What are your keys to the game as far as what this team needs to do outside of the obvious, which is become creative, which they won't do? But what else do you think they need to do to take a W in Indy?
I think they attack the weakened offensive line of the Colts, and hopefully the pass rush comes together this weekend and just stop JT, man. The defense hasn't been able to hold a good running back, under 100 yards, even though they did 66 yards with Jacobs, but it was a combined effort in total in general. Just tighten up on the defense, man. And then hopefully they continue to run the ball against the Colts. Not so great defense. Is Shaq even playing? Darius Leonard or whatever, is he playing? Did he play last week?
To my knowledge, I can find that out, but I don't believe he played.
No.
So I mean,
I would change his name to Shaq too.
I would love, yeah, right. I would love to see them, take shots down the field this week too. Hopefully they were saving it for the Colts game. I don't know, but
he's not playing. He's not playing. No.
Well, just keep attacking with Henry, even with the passing game. More of Hilliard too.
Yes, that's another point I forgot to bring up. This guy, every time we throw to him, something good happens.
Touches the ball, yeah, man.
And we give him fucking one look last week. I mean, really, it's borderline. It's egregious how just blatantly awful their play calling, game planning, adjusting, all the above. It's just absolutely deplorable. Anything they do well, they don't continue to do it. Everything that doesn't work, they continue to try. I mean, it's just embarrassing, and I'm tired of talking about it, but the stubbornness of the front office, unfortunately, we're going to have to keep putting up with it. But, yeah, get Hilliard more involved for sure. Vin?
I think we need to let the king keep rolling, run the shit out of the ball. And then what Jared said, too, I'd like to get after Matt Ryan. I mean, he just looks like he needs to just be a family man. I mean, play some golf, have a barbecue with your cousins or some shit, but he does not look like he should be playing NFL football anymore, to me at least. I mean, I know they won last week, but get after this fuck, make them uncomfortable, hit them, run the ball, play old school football against them, play good defense, run the ball, and if we get a lead, please, for the sake of fucking all three of us and whoever else roots for this team, put the fucking foot down on their throats. I mean, it's been fucking 2 out of 3 weeks now where we could have closed the door on the team and we let them hang around.
Well, 3 weeks. It's been 22 years like that. Are you kidding?
Yeah, you're right. Well, besides the few years with Arthur Smith, it seemed like the score as much as we can. But if we get a lead, I mean, fucking stay aggressive. Play to win the game. Don't play not to lose, So with my half-assed Herm Edwards quote right there, I mean, play to fucking win the game, not to fucking, keep them alive. And because like I've always said, good teams, bad teams, these are NFL players. And you let a bad team hang around for 4 quarters, they could absolutely win the game. So I'm not, we're a 3-point dog. I think that's about the standard spread, I would think, for this game. I think it's going to be a coin flip, but I definitely give the edge to us. I think they're going to, it's an emotional win for them last week. Could be a bit of a letdown for them, but big game, and I would just like to see them run the shit out of the ball and get after Matt Ryan, make him very uncomfortable.
Yeah, we got to set the tone right off the bat.
Yeah, if you get a lead, fucking lay it on him. Sal?
Yeah,
going to help us beat the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, definitely run the football. Which, you know what? Actually, fuck that. No, forget I just said that.
Don't run the ball.
Don't run the ball. First of all, before I say what I'm going to say, it is ridiculous. Derrick Henry's had 7 carries in the second half of the first 3 games in total. I don't understand that. Well, I guess I kind of do because he was a no-show for the first 2 games. But either way, when you get a lead, use the guy who's the king of leads, the king of everything. But use Derrick Henry when you got a lead. But you got to start throwing the football more. Okay, I can't say I love that. After 3 weeks, our leading receiver is Robert Woods with 137 yards. Like that's just not going to win you a championship.
Absolutely not.
It's not. It's not. You want to know why Philly's lighting the world on fire right now? Because they're throwing the motherfucking rock at least twice first, second down. Like at least. They're throwing all the fucking time. That's why AJ Brown has 300 yards in fucking 3 games.
They haven't scored 1 point in the second half of all 3 games. So
the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
And they've I've seen the teams that they played. Not to get on their end, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're.
To Sal's point, I think what he's trying to get at is, they're very creative. They're attacking.
Absolutely.
They're attacking downfield. They're getting dimensional in the running game with Scott and Sanders and their quarterback. I think Sal's point was more or less show their kind of creativity, and see what happens with it.
Yeah, I mean, my point is that this is no longer a league which one man can carry you the whole way. Okay, we tried it. I've said this a million times. Tried it 2 years ago. Tried it last year. It's not going to work anymore. He can get you a lot of the way. But eventually, you're going to have to be a team that scares you through the air. And we have never, ever, ever, ever been a team that likes to drop back and throw the rock. And if we don't start, we're going to, I mean, I already think we're ruining Henry by the way we run him. I mean, we could give him some more time. We can make things easier for him. There's so many benefits to throwing the football in 2022 in the NFL. And we're just continuously trying to run a 1965 offense. So, will that change? I don't know. I think you're going to have to. Luckily for our cornerback situation, you got a guy coming in this week that's been really below average. He's got 4 interceptions in 3 games. Hopefully the pass rush can get home a couple of times. Their line's banged up. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere. That game is just as big for them as it is for us. You got to see what happens. You got to pray once again that maybe they can correct their wrongful play calling in the second half and be more creative. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. As always, make sure you check us out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you check us out. On any platform you can. Make sure to like, share, whatnot. And we'll see. As always, folks.
Let's get our predictions. Let's see how.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm a little impaired tonight. Let's do our predictions before we leave. In
21-17. Tighten up.
Okay.
Jared? I'm gonna go 26-16 Titans.
26-16. Okay.
Some field goals involved.
Sal's going to say 42-10 Colts.
Wait a sec. So that would be Willis. A touchdown and 2 field goals with your boy Ryan Tannehill. Come on. You can't give me all that Tannehill fucking brown nose and then tell me it's touchdown.
It's a division game. Division games, they always play tight in division games.
All right. Let me guess. All 16 points are in the first half?
Probably.
Okay. So
no, 26 us.
Oh, 26. I thought you said 16.
No, 26-16 us.
Oh, 20. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. So then he might throw 2. Nah, he ain't throwing. Derrick Henry's rushing for 2. He's gonna run for 1. And then maybe
Randy Bullock ain't making 4 field goals.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. It's in the dome.
If they're within, if they're 30 yards or less, I give them a good chance. So my score prediction, realistically, last time I picked them to lose, they won, but I just can't do it this time. It made my blood boil when I did it. But I'm gonna go Titans 17, Colts 14.
Oof.
Yeah, bad, pretty bad. I can't say that I think things are gonna change until they start to change, and nothing started to change yet. Okay, we scored 20 against the Giants and then did nothing after that. We got embarrassed by the Bills. Okay, we scored 24 in the first half against the fucking Raiders, and then we do nothing. So I can't, until he shows me he can do something, I'm not giving them the benefit of just because I'm a fan. I'm going to say, 42-10.
Oh,
no,
yeah, no.
Not going to happen. So 17-14 Titans. See what happens. And that's it. Anything else you guys want to add before we hop off?
No, sir.
All right. Keep an eye out for Jeffrey Dahmer, defensive tackle for the Titans as well. He's making his debut this Sunday. Vin just broke the news to the fans. We didn't know until now. So keep an eye on him. And as always, tighten up.
Tighten up.